Okay, like to thank you for coming and we'll get started here. We don't have any public comment period. Okay, thank you, Nick. Let's move on to the consent agenda, which includes the minutes from the previous meeting, the appropriations, application for club liquor license for the dealership and the territorial ballroom, dealership building in the territorial ballroom, and lake cabin transfer for B47. Do I hear a motion to approve the?
You do?
Okay. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay. Moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Old business, the water tower update, Nick?
So they're still working on metal work. I talked to Jack, who's the scheduler for Viking Industries. They have 3 crews that are finishing up projects in Nebraska, and they should be done with those in the next week to 2 weeks. And as soon as one of them gets done up there, they're sending it directly over here. He said so by maybe sooner, but he said at the latest probably 2 weeks from now today
Okay.
that we would have a crew here to start doing all the work on our water tower. That's barring weather, obviously.
So hopefully the weather will hold,
Yeah.
although we could use some rain if that happened, but
Yeah.
okay.
So.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's move on to new business. We have ordinance number 2255, amending the nuisance unlawful and repealing section 8-101. Brian, do you have?
I do, and I would address really all 4 of those in tandem because they're really all 4 related.
Okay.
We had talked before about adding something about the sweeping the grass clippings, but when Larry had looked at that, there was some redundancies where some of that stuff had been addressed in other places. So basically what I did is I took 8-101 and I took the grass and weeds out of that and added a paragraph at the end that basically referred you to section 8-510, which is where the grass clippings and things are found. Then in the weeds to be removed, 8-501, I added the paragraph that I removed, grasses, weeds, or unsightly vegetation not usually cultivated or grown for domestic use. I added that into there so that all of the grasses and weeds were in the same kind of place. And then for the 8510, I added unlawful dumping in the streets, it's unlawful for any person. I added the language as a result of lawn mowing to deposit in. And I removed some language after leave any, the language of rubbish, stone, wire, earth, ashes, sawdust, hay, all of those things that were already previously addressed under the nuisance. So basically, it was in 2 separate places and we provided 2 separate penalties and 2 separate times to remediate that. So, and then the last one is fairly similar to what you had seen before in the new ordinance with the actual penalty and the fee to be charged and the numbering for a violation of the grass clipping stuff.
Okay, and the fee in violation, do you want to just say how much that is so that'll be on here?
Yeah, and there are actually 2 separate types of fees. Initially, you're going to receive a notice. You've got 24 hours in which to remediate the problem.
Okay.
If you don't do that, then there's a fine not to exceed $100. If you don't clean it up and the city has to utilize city resources, which would be our street sweeper, we've got to get out that big expensive street sweeper or take it out there, then the ordinance provides for a $150 administrative fee to be assessed if we do utilize the city's resources to go back in and clean up behind you.
Okay, that way it's out there in on the.
Is that 150 plus the cleanup fee, or
So
just
really
150 covers
the
it?
100 is the penalty if you don't, after getting notice for 24 hours, clean it up. You get a $100 fine, basically. Then you can clean it up or just keep not doing anything. If nothing happens and we have to go out there, that's basically us recouping our costs to go out there and use our machines to go out there and clean it up.
So then
So
it
really
goes
it's a total of $250.
Yeah, okay.
Good.
Okay, so does anybody have any questions about ordinance 2255, 2256, 2257, or 2258? And,
We'll have to vote on each one of those separate though. 'cause they're
oh,
all
I thought
separate.
he said we could do them all at once.
They're all different.
I was addressing them together.
Yeah, they have to be separate.
Because they work off of each other.
Right, I just was addressing them because they're all essentially the same thing. I think the council could hypothetically vote on them all, provided you were to unanimously approve them all. But if there was
Yeah.
any chance that we were not gonna do that, then we would wanna take each one.
Each one
individually.
separately, so we can do them
Yeah.
together or separate, whatever. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
On the 2258, it says the fine, if they don't do it after 24 hours, to be fined in an amount not to exceed $100. Each day during or on which the violation occurs or continues after notice has been served shall constitute an additional or separate offense. I read that as they'd get charged $100 a day as long as it sits there.
They could potentially do that, but ideally, we're gonna go,
Okay.
I mean, that is
Just put that
really
in there, just.
basically a redundancy off of the other nuisance thing.
Okay.
And again, if that is too encumbering, we can also interlineate that and take that line out. If you don't want to, if you just want to do a one-time
Well,
assessment.
I think
But
Dan can deal with that part.
it gives them some latitude, but you also, what you don't want to get into is having a situation where we've got somebody mowing twice a week or once a week and then having us hitting them
I
today
see what you,
and then hitting
yes,
them a week from the, does that make sense?
that makes sense too, yeah,
So,
totally makes sense.
I just have a comment regarding this whole thing. In the paper, I've been getting several questions over the last couple of weeks regarding what we're actually trying to accomplish with this law, and I've had to explain to these people that we're looking at deliberate, mowing all of your grass in the street type stuff. Like if you're just making a sweep around and you happen to throw something out, or if you get some back grass or something that blows in there, that's not what we're trying to do. Does that make sense? But there's people that are just literally, trying to get all the grass out of their yard so they don't create those windrows and putting all that in the street. So maybe in your paper, you could maybe try to explain that so that, because I think there's a fear out there that we're trying to
yeah, this is
catch
certainly
people doing something wrong, and it's really not what it's designed to do.
not a cash grab. We don't want to utilize resources to go out and clean it up, but we also don't want to cause ourselves problems with things backing up.
A good example is the last time we swept, which is about 2 weeks ago, it was over the weekend, that following Monday, if you went through downtown on the east side, there was 4 or 5 different places that had grass blown out into the road after we just had swept it, so.
You can actually tell that it's actually been mowed, and like you said,
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Intentionally thrown.
yeah.
So,
It's not like they backed their pickup up and a little bit fell out when they emptied their grass bags or anything like that. It's all the
cause that for
grass.
stormwater system too. I mean, our
Yeah.
guys, if we get
That's-
heavy rain, have to go out there and try to unplug it, or a sewer truck has to go out there trying to vac it or spray water down to loosen up the blockage. We've had that happen out here out front and several other places in town, and a lot of it has to do with grass clippings and debris.
Mhm.
Well, and $150 definitely isn't a cash grab. That's barely covering expenses to get the machine out with labor.
I mean, it's a
the
$250 million
equipment.
machine, so.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Plus the
Yeah.
hour it takes to get them out there and get it back in.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think making the point that, hey, this is a problem.
Well, I think
It
the
causes problems.
I think the reason I asked for it, and I think some of the councilmen, Dan had went out, talked to people, handed them the ordinance, was really polite to them. He was treated pretty horribly. He was cussed at, yelled at, and stuff like that. He doesn't deserve to have to deal with that stuff. When you're trying to hand him the ordinance and explain it to him, and there's no teeth to it, so people are like, "Well, I ain't doing it. You're not gonna do anything to me. I ain't doing it." It's like, okay, So unfortunately, rules and laws and stuff are put in place because people just don't want to do the right thing. So,
Similar to littering, actually.
Yeah.
So.
all right.
Other questions? Okay, would you prefer to vote on them one at a time, or would you prefer to vote them all at once? If you have more questions, we
I
can.
make a motion that we approve all 4 ordinances as read.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve all four ordinances as read and explained. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, motion carries 4-0. Okay, we're down to city lake plating discussion. Do you like to address this? Do you want me to-
Yeah, so we've received, one, as we've been going through the annexation process, a lot of people have concerns about stuff not being platted at the lake, those not being platted, access deeds and things like that. So I contact Steve Brosmer to get kind of an idea of what it would cost to get the rest of it platted. He hasn't gotten back to me with the price yet, but once I have that, we'll need to make a decision on if that's something the city wants to do or not do. So,
Talk about, that would make them actual county roads then.
yeah, they would be be platted and be a road, yes. So right now, I think they're considered,
Trails.
trails, yeah, right now,
Okay.
so,
So we probably should table that until we get a price on it?
yes, I would.
Okay, okay.
That's what everybody wants to do,
Okay,
so.
okay. Okay, tabled. And we're down to governing body, Nick.
Do we need to vote on tabling?
No, just take no action.
Will you allow audience discussion on the plating?
Yeah, I'll give you a few minutes.
1 minute?
Sure.
Andy Benning, C28. Thank you very much. As you know, I've been working on this plat process. As some of you know, I've been working on this plat process since we signed the first lease. And I came to the first city council meeting after we signed the lease and said we needed to address this. And I'm glad we're finally addressing it. What I do want to share with you is when we did the plat 5 or 6 years ago out there, Call Valley did this work. And Call Valley was working for me in life an awful lot right then. So I told them to do the plat correctly because I spent 35 years of my life doing plats all across the country, worked with cities, and that's what I did for a living. So Leon Osborne at Call Valley shot the 10 coordinates that we need to go to the end of the property line, go to the easement, go through the easement, go to the roadway. We have all those coordinates that he shot. Well, the city did not want that information at that particular time. I called Leon a couple of months ago because I anticipated this was going to come up. And Leon went back and looked it up, and I told him to save all this information. Well, he saved it all. So he has all this information so he can, there's going to be some things that'll have to be addressed because, some rear setback lines have changed, that sort of thing. But he has the information to just plot it and plat it and be done with it. So I think the city should take advantage of that work already being done.
That's for the entire lake or just for a section?
For the entire lake, basically. It would only include the outside boundaries, like on the south side, that sort of thing. But where all the roadways, where all those individual plats, the utilities are already run in an easement that doesn't exist. TCT, the gas company, they all put things where the easements will be. And so when we were there, when the surveyors were there, I just had them shoot those coordinates, and they've got them on file, and he went back and they're still in the system, so he could just plot those and you could move forward. I think it's worth me telling you that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks, Andy.
Thank you.
Is he like a licensed surveyor?
So Steve Brosmer was the manager of that project when that was done in 2012. And Call Valley was the one that got the contract to do the plating out there.
Okay,
So they did all the
so
work.
they did
all-
the work
They
with
did
Steve.
all the work, yes.
With Steve then?
Yeah, Steve
Okay,
was- yeah,
that was
Steve
my
managed it.
question. I
Yeah.
wasn't sure.
Steve
I
managed
wanted
for
to
the city, I
verify.
think Larry Johnson was the inspector at that time,
Uh-huh.
and also worked on it with,
Okay,
Mr. Rosemer, so.
okay, well, that's very good.
And so they
information.
platted, there's about 20 different individual plats out there right now. And they could all just be put together and platted, and he wouldn't have to do that much work. It would be very economical to
Okay.
move forward with Call Valley.
Well, be sure to, they can be sure and
Yeah.
communicate that to Steve.
Yeah, I've talked to Leon before, so.
Yeah,
I don't know who that is, and I've talked to Steve, and Steve may not be aware of that either, so.
okay.
I'll follow.
Steve probably was not aware of it.
Yeah.
So we took about 10 extra coordinates on each site
Okay.
because it took nothing. I mean, that was part of your package that you didn't even know you got.
Thank you, we appreciate that
Thanks, Andy.
information, Andy. Okay. Anybody else have any questions for Andy?
Yeah, I'll be happy to answer any questions. Or I'd love to be on the workshop to help the city and the lake plat this thing together and make sure it's right. 'Cause like I said, I did this for a living for 35 years and I've dealt
We'll
with
definitely
everything
make
you
note
can-
of that,
I've
yeah.
dealt with everything you can imagine in a plat process in every city in the country.
Thank you, I'm gonna make note of that right there, thank you. Okay, now, Nick, do you have a governing body?
Sure, and I should put this maybe on the agenda, but we're not voting on it. The Utilities Committee and I have been talking about certifications for the water department. We don't have anything in writing on what that is. And what I'd like to have done or have Brian do is come up with an addendum or an insert for the city pay for those certifications. And what we talked about is $1.50 per certification. So there's 4 certifications they would be eligible to get a raise of $1.50 for. It's water 1, water 2, sewer 1, and then backflow. So it's be a total of $6 if they have all of them.
How long does it usually take for them to get certified? Do they go through a class?
You have to be, if you don't have college credits, it's a year before you take your first test. And you can take another one till the following year, and so on and so forth. So probably 3 years, they can have all of them done.
And then that's in addition to their regular,
Pay, yeah. that'd be-
and their regular raises?
Yes.
Yes, okay, that's what I thought.
So it's getting hard to find people who want to work in public utilities and water and stuff like that. I mean, it's
Or
I
anything,
get the newsletters and stuff in my email about how many people are trying to hire people to run water plants and stuff.
Mhm.
So we can have Brian come up with something, or me and Brian can work on putting something together for the next meeting.
Okay.
Good plan.
Does anybody have any objections to that?
No.
I think that's a
You've
good
been
plan.
doing that, you just wanted and
Well, but the problem is, so
wanted.
it changes. So before I got here it was 50 cents, then went to $1, then went to $1.25,
Okay.
then we just need something in writing so the
Sure.
guys, because what happens inevitably is people's wages are, and what they get paid, people will get upset about it. Like, well, I don't get the raise because that wasn't in place when I started.
Mhm.
You know, so let's just put it in writing, and then there's no controversy about, well, you got paid $1, now he's getting paid $1.50.
And it can be something that's just in your policy manual.
Yeah, we have a,
Right.
so we have a whole job description with the pay scales and all that stuff. I
Yeah.
did as part of my PCM class.
I think I may have one from the last thing I did for you that I ran across. So
But yeah, we can talk.
So that'd be great, we can address it next meeting.
And then, if anybody's interested, flu shots are tomorrow here between 10 and 11. So and the city covers you guys as well for flu shots.
Okay, that's all,
That's it.
okay. Brian,
I don't have anything else, Mayor. Thank you.
okay. Jason,
I don't have anything. Thank you.
Mark,
Couple things. Seth Fest is this weekend. Nick, do you know when the fence will be arriving over there?
I think Thursday.
Thursday?
That's soon enough.
Yeah, just need it for Friday
Because
night.
he was gonna go down there and measure, I said, from the back fence of the stage to the front of the first row seating.
Yep.
And then 2 panels per, stairway at top, so 6 panels up there.
Okay.
So Jeff's aware, I talked to him. The
Alright.
the lighting's already up, and he'll bring down the cords and the spider boxes, or you can go pick them up, because obviously you don't want to just set them
Are
up.
they at the, where are they at now?
They'll be out the street department. So if you
Okay.
wanna go pick them up from Jeff, you can do that.
I'll get with Jeff tomorrow or Thursday and get that.
Okay.
Okay.
I think that was it, wasn't it? I think there was anything else on your guys'
I got
list.
one more thing. I don't think that they thought about security until last night.
Okay,
So I told them we really don't need anything, but it might not be a bad idea to get that street. Doesn't the street department have one of those little gators or something?
Yeah, we do, but we probably better using Justin's. 'cause-
Whatever we got.
Yeah,
just,
Justin, the blue one has a sprayer in the back of it and all that stuff.
Yeah, just park it over there, and then maybe they could run through here and there. If I don't expect a huge crowd, but if there happen to be more people, we might
Usually
need
Sean has a
someone
couple
down there.
guys on duty in the evenings,
Yeah.
so that wasn't an issue.
Lori was supposed to call Sean today. I don't know if he called her back yet, and work that out with her. But I just thought
Yeah,
maybe tomorrow when you see him, you might mention it.
yeah, I will.
That's it for me. Since there's going to be alcohol there, we probably ought to at least
Yeah.
have a plan there.
I'll keep an eye on Nick on Friday night.
Yeah,
Don't worry about me.
Okay.
that's all I had.
Okay. Sean?
I spoke with Nick briefly. As most of you are aware, we have a shop right over here. There's a city-owned lot across the road from that. I didn't get with him soon enough, so my thoughts were to get it on our agenda. But I approached the city basically about leasing that lot to store our pavers and some other palleted type materials on there. Nick's concerns were if the city chose to sell it, that we would have things there in place. Everything we would have, like I said, would be on pallets. We could get it out of there in a short amount of time. So what I would ask of council is if you're open or think this is okay, maybe drive by before the next council meeting and just take a look and see what you think. Like I said, we would keep up with the maintenance of whatever portion of it would be allowed for us to be used. But I know we've got other city-owned lots throughout the city that are leased to entities to use for parking or for, whatever the case may be. So just something that I'd ask that everybody go look. And like I said, I'm kind of approaching everybody from the other side of the bench, but we could use the extra space and it would be temporary for now. Like I said, if not, I can talk to Jason and maybe use this Jason Ziegler and use some space behind the building. But that over there was actually rocked and a parking lot at one time already when it was Fairmont. So our forklift wouldn't sink or anything over there. So it'd be ideal for us. But just drive by it. Maybe we can get it on the agenda or Nick can handle it in the meantime. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm fine with working out with Sean and them. You guys are good with that?
Are you confident that your stuff will be secure there?
Well, it's concrete blocks. That's all it is. I'm not worried about security. We put LED lighting all the way around our building and it actually projects clear out into that lot over there. So if someone stole those, they would have to be extremely ambitious.
And our camera is actually on front of the building. You can see stuff over that way, so.
I kind of feel like we ought to put this on the next agenda because sometimes we have people come and say, I would have done that if I would have known.
That's fine.
Absolutely.
So I would prefer to put it on the
Yeah,
next
we can do
agenda if possible, so we don't have people feeling that we're out of line.
Yep, I agree.
Anything else, Sean?
Nope, that's it. Sorry.
Okay.
It's up to you.
Sharon?
I don't have anything, thank you.
Okay. I have a note here to read. Mayor Debbie and City Council members, as I no longer reside in Ward 1 in the City of Council Grove, I am resigning my position on City Council effective immediately. Thank you for the opportunity to work with such a great group. Thanks to the voters that put their confidence in me as well. Sincerely, Keith Wesson. I didn't want to read that, but I needed to, so. And so consequently, we will be researching in the next several weeks, months for a,
Yeah, you have, I think it's
Replacement.
4 months to try to find somebody.
Replacement.
And then if you don't, there's a process you have to go through.
Okay.
Because there's actually a lot of cities that have issues finding council members, so.
in the meantime, if, Jan, I don't know, if you put, in the minutes, if somebody is interested, they can certainly
Contact us.
visit Nick or I. Okay? In Ward 1.
And that's everything east of Union
river.
Street,
Uh-huh. East of the river.
Yeah.
east of the river.
Yeah, so Larry's in that, and then Keith was back here, so. that'd be super good.
Yeah, of the river. Okay. I think, I'm trying to remember if anybody has asked me to bring up anything else. I don't remember that. And I don't have any notes in my phone. So I did have, went to the Republican and signed the Constitution Week proclamation because they were unable to get to the meeting last time. So you probably all saw that. And so I guess with that, I would welcome a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll
Okay.
second it.
Okay.
We're really good at
I know, I was
motion.
trying to say
Bread and
that.
butter.
Okay, all in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. 4-0.